Before.
Hey guys, welcome back to World Changing 101. Yay! I'm Renaya, and today here with us we have Miss Tekolste, a former Spanish teacher at Shortridge who now teaches English in Brazil. So let's get started. How has your experience been with teaching in a different country?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be talking to the Blue Devils. I'm also here with my students who will have a chance to introduce themselves. It has been an adventure for sure. I work in 3 different schools, and so I'm still getting used to all the different systems and all the different rules. I'm still learning Portuguese, so there's things that are challenging, but it's also a really beautiful place. I get to go on hikes on the weekends. I got to travel to Rio de Janeiro. So there's a lot of really amazing opportunities. And I'm also very impressed with my students' English, which they will also have an opportunity to showcase. Can I have them introduce themselves, Renaya?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Otávio. I'm 15 years old and I speak English for 10 years.
Hi, my name is Renata. I'm 15 years old and I speak English since I'm 9. Hi, I'm Anna and I'm 15 years old and I learned English since I was 5 years old.
Hi, my name is Angelonia. I'm 15 years old and I have been taking some English classes about tonight.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm 16 years old and I study English since I was 9.
Hi, I was Pedro Henrique. I am 16 years old and I speak English since I was 9 years old.
Nice to meet you guys.
And you can feel free to ask questions for them as well.
Okay. Our next question is, was it hard transitioning from Spanish to Portuguese?
Yes, and my students know that it's hard, especially this class is English, but I do have some classes that are Spanish, and sometimes I do get confused. They're very similar languages, but there's certain things that are confusing, like some false cognates, and also Portuguese pronunciation is extremely difficult.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing you've done since you've been in Brazil?
My favorite thing that I've done since I've been in Brazil was going to Rio. Rio is an amazing city. It has everything. It has culture. It has beaches. It has concerts. It has music. It has great food. You should put it on your bucket list if you like to travel.
When you were here at Shortridge, you founded World Changing 101. So what inspired you to do so?
Well, World Changing 101 was founded during the pandemic because students were stuck at home and we were really isolated. And I talked to my students and they really missed what was called Friday Connect, which was an opportunity at the school to bring people in from the community to have discussions with our students. And it went away and they wanted to bring it back. And so this was our way of bringing it back in a virtual format. And the vision of World Changing 101 is that we want all students to be able to see themselves and people who are different from them making change in a meaningful way in their communities. And we also want students to see that there are a diverse array of ways to make the world a better place.
Do you prefer the food in America or in Brazil, and why?
Okay, I'm gonna let my students answer that because they already know my preference. Do I know my preference? Do I prefer the food in the US or in Brazil? Okay, who wants to expand?
So she don't eat a lot of fruit, but she likes vegetables. And I think that she likes feijoada. Did you like it?
Yes, I love feijoada and I love beans. Renaya, do you know what feijoada is?
Mm-mm.
Who wants to explain?
Pork meat and like.
Bay leaf. Floater is bay leaves. Yeah. So it's like a really savory black bean stew.
Okay.
delicious.
What was a culture shock for you when you first moved to Brazil?
When I first came to Brazil, the biggest culture shock. I don't know. Oh no, I'm stuck. I think a big culture shock is related to the actually this is like a positive culture shock. Let me share this one. Students don't use their cell phones in class. If you ask, of course, there might be some non-examples of that situation, but for the most part, students will put their cell phones away. They have to put them in these big pockets that are hanging on the walls, and they're allowed to use them for activities, but it's like not a distraction, which honestly is really nice. On the other hand, students use paper dictionaries, at least at the school where I work, and I find that to be really different because it's been years since I've used a paper dictionary, and I don't really think that there's a need for it. So we see like both sides of the spectrum.
What was like the time difference when you first went there? Like, was it hard transitioning with the time zones?
It's only 2 hours, so it's not so bad. Yeah. And depending on daylight savings time, sometimes it's only 1 hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know it was that short of a time.
Yeah. Because it's like just straight down.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Do your students get to do a lot of community service at their school?
No.
No.
No one does any community service?
No.
Okay, but let me give a caveat to that because so I work at 3 different schools. This where we are now is a language school. And so as a result of that, not as a result of that, but where we are is a language school and these students go to a different school than the regular school where I work. And the regular school where I work, students do community service.
Quem consegue ajudar ela a fazer a
Okay. Okay. So this is a question for your students. What are you guys' favorite classes?
Your favorite classes?
Biology. Teacher.
Like,
Biology.
Physics.
And you, Renaya?
Probably anatomy.
Anatomy.
Yeah.
Can they ask you a question?
Yeah.
All right, who wants to ask a question?
What do you do when you go out with your friends?
Most of the time we go like downtown to like have fun or like eat food and most of the time we're eating food. We're going to get food or like just walk around and because we have a canal downtown, so we go and walk on the canal sometimes if it's nice outside. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
is it easy to buy cars in the United States?
What do you say?
It is easy to buy cars in the United States.
No, they're pretty expensive. You kind of have to have a good amount of money if you want to buy a car, at least if it's new, a new car.
Yeah, one thing that is really surprising, it was surprising for me as someone from the US, is that it is way more expensive here. So if you were to convert the amount that you would spend in dollars into reals, which is the Brazilian currency, you would spend a lot more on a car. And then you also have to consider that the average income is lower. So even though it's expensive for people in the US, it's way more expensive here.
Oh wow. What is what is the current, like, how's the currency compared to US dollars?
It's almost 5 to 1 the last I checked. So
Oh, wow.
5 reals is $1.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you enjoy teaching English or Spanish better?
Oh, well, you know that I love Spanish, so I don't think anything will ever replace Spanish in my heart, and I think I will continue to be a Spanish teacher. But I will say there is something cool about teaching your native language. I think both things are really cool. One thing that has surprised me is that I really like teaching English. I expected to be sad because I'm not teaching as much Spanish, and I do miss it, but teaching English is also really cool.
Okay. What do you miss the most about Indianapolis?
I miss my friends a lot. I talk to my family a lot, and I miss them too. But I miss my friends. I live here in two small towns, and so like I go back and forth between two small towns, and I have friends, right? But everyone is from here, right? And so it's a little bit harder to make friends, and it does make me feel like, I have saudades, which means I miss my friends.
This is a question for your students. Have any of you guys ever been to the US, or would you ever travel to the US?
You've been to the US.
Yes, when I was 11 years old, I think so.
Mm-hmm. And where did you go? You went to Indianapolis, right? Noblesville.
Yes, but
Atlanta. Oh, Carmel. And you went to Orlando too, right?
yeah, but when I was 18 years old, I think so.
Okay. So Renaya, where we are now is the sister city of Noblesville. And so Otavio had the opportunity to go as part of Sister Cities, right? Oh, no, not as part of Sister Cities, but his mom knows a lot of people there because of Sister Cities. Okay.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Would any of them want to come here? Want to come to the US?
Yes.
What would you like to do in the US?
I don't know, buy stoves.
Okay, buy stuff.
Need a new future.
Get to know a different culture.
No other places.
Yeah, meet new people, different places. Renaya, where is the best place to visit in the United States?
Oof. Probably Florida. But that's only because that's one of the only places I've been that's like not a bordering state. But Florida is really nice. Like the beaches, specifically Cocoa Beach, is like actually so pretty. So yeah.
I think California.
And Disney World's there too. So yeah.
I think it depends on what you want to do, but I always recommend California.
Oh, I've never been to California, so
New York. It has
oh yeah,
everything.
and New York, but it's a really big city. New York's a really big city. It's a lot of people.
You guys want to ask another question? I have a question for you guys. So
Okay.
I don't know who your Spanish teacher is, but we're able to do something really cool, which is that we like received three international Spanish speaking teachers, one who teaches ESL and the other two who teach Spanish. And then, and then now I'm abroad. So we're like taking steps towards becoming a really international school. I'm wondering what your experience has been like learning Spanish.
Miss Thompson is my Spanish teacher, and she's a really great Spanish teacher. She doesn't challenge me as much as you did when I first came to Shortridge, but she's still a really good teacher. She's had us do like a lot of like reading and oral presentations. So I really like that because speaking is one of my hardest things when it comes to Spanish. So she's really helped me a lot with that.
Shout out to the homie. Hi, Miss Thompson.
What made you decide to want to teach in Brazil?
Yeah, everyone asks that. So I just really was always interested in Brazil. I took Portuguese for Spanish speakers, which is a course at IU. And so if you already have a solid foundation in Spanish, you can take accelerated Portuguese. They're really similar to each other, so it helps a lot. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was such like a funky language, and I always thought Brazilian culture was really interesting. And I thought there were interesting parallels with the United States and Brazil. And I was bored during the pandemic. I was stuck at home, and I started taking Portuguese classes. And with this school, actually, where I'm currently sitting, I took Portuguese classes online. And then I was invited to participate in a teacher exchange that was also here. And teaching abroad was something that I always wanted to do. And I just kind of thought, okay, well, I'm not getting any younger. And like, why not now? And Brazil was a good choice for me because I have Spanish and English. And I wanted to, it's a culture that I was interested in and I wanted to explore further.
That's great. How are the classes different there?
So actually our students had some notes about how classes are different. So I think we can answer this one together. I think the biggest thing has to do with the schedule, which I'll let them talk about, and cell phones, which we already mentioned. Students usually only, well, I'll let them talk about the schedule, but a big difference for me is like at Shortridge, we have band, theater, orchestra, choir, I already said theater, but we have all the performing and visual arts available to all students in a public school, and it's phenomenal. Here, that's really uncommon. Usually students, if they want to be involved in things like that, they have to do it outside of school, or they have to go to a really bougie private school. So that for me is a really big difference. Who wants to talk about the schedule? Having classes all day.
What do you mean by
Okay.
all day?
Okay, I'll talk about the schedule. So here it's really unusual. Yeah, remember that this is their second language, right? So they're phenomenal. They're really very proficient, even if they're shy at the moment. But yeah, so students typically don't have class all day. They usually go either in the morning or the afternoon. I don't know if you guys want to speak about your experiences with that.
But we have in the afternoon.
Okay, all of you?
No, only Portuguese. One night.
That we have like the morning and the afternoon class, but it's just 2 days and a half. Yeah. It's not like we don't lunch at school. We go at home or in a restaurant, and then we go back to school. But we have like normal days that we just have class in the morning. But on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we have classes in the morning and in the afternoon.
Okay, and is it different for you, Otavio, since you're in a public school now?
Every morning and one night.
Every morning and one night you have school. Okay, so that's a big difference because at Shortridge we have class from 9 to 4. But
Yeah.
that includes all of these extra classes, right? Like art, music, world language, which would be considered an extra depending on who you ask.
And the fact that they get to go home and eat lunch is like crazy. That's so cool.
It's
I
a
wish I
big
could do that.
difference. It's a big difference, right? Because like we have to eat in like 10 minutes, like we have no time to eat, but here people eat a really balanced lunch. So it's very common to have rice, beans, salad, meats, all of that for lunch. And then you have coffee, maybe a fruit, and you feel full the rest of the day. It's really nice.
That's really cool. How are the grade levels divided at school there? And are there separate elementary, middle, and high schools?
How are the grade levels divided at school, and are there separate elementary, middle, and high schools?
All the classes like are in the same school. We don't have different schools for like high school or.
Yeah. Could you hear that, Renaya?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So the place where I work actually has babies all the way up through post-secondary. And part of the reason for that is that it's a small town, a small city. And so like the buildings can just fit a lot more age levels.
Oh, wow.
Experiences. And here in Brazil, we have 9 years of elementary school and 3 of high school. That's different of.
Yeah, that is different. Very different.
So like, does it go like first grade, second grade, or is it something different?
First, second, third, fourth. It's like that. Elementary is 1 to 9, and high school is 1 to 3. Like this.
During your time in Brazil, what are some new things you've learned?
Is that one for me?
Yes.
Okay, also Miss Thompson just texted me and she pointed out that it says kidney stone on the board behind me. So just take a moment to observe how advanced their English vocabulary is because they learned the word kidney stone today. Congratulations. And hi, Miss Thompson again. Some of the things that I've learned, I would say I'm still learning a lot. I'm learning a lot of Portuguese. I'm trying to learn to like go with the flow a little bit more. That's kind of hard for me if you know me. So I'm trying to learn to like be a little bit better at like thinking on my feet and like responding in the moment and not necessarily like feeling like I need to have everything meticulously planned. That's been helpful. I think I've learned a lot about feeding myself well and like exercising well in a way that's really balanced. I think in general people do a good job of that here. And I've learned a lot about language acquisition because I'm teaching younger kids. Like here you see me with teenagers, but I also teach a group of 5 through 7-year-olds, and that is really, really different. And those kids are sponges when it comes to learning language, and they're also hilarious and a hot mess. So it's been a learning experience in terms of early childhood education as well.
Would you rather teach the younger kids or the older kids?
Listen, my experience is with teenagers. Like I think is like where my heart is. I really love teenagers, but there's something for me in this particular moment of my life that is really special about having little kids. Like I find them to be so rejuvenating and funny, and it's like a good challenge. So I think I'll probably always teach teenagers, but I'm glad to have this experience with little kids.
Okay. The weather always seems really nice there. Are there any bad weather days?
Who wants to answer?
Here in the state that we live, it's pretty cold in the winter. Sometimes, no, I don't know. One time, had snow, but was the first time that I saw snow, and it's not that common, but it's pretty cold here, and the summer is pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
Extremes. Mm-hmm.
Like are too hot or too cold.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the seasons are flipped. So like right now, you guys are entering in spring, and pretty soon we're going to be entering into fall. So also, I think another thing that has been really impactful has been El Nino, right? Because we've had just like torrential rains and a lot of flooding, not necessarily in the city where we are, but in the region. And so that's important, I think, to know.
Okay. This is another question for your students. How is it having an American teacher, and are there large cultural differences between you two?
It's really good because we listen to American accents, so we can practice our evidence.
Mm-hmm. And this group, some of them have known me before, but the school year is actually just starting here in Brazil, and so this is only our second class.
Oh wow! When
Yeah.
did the school year start?
It starts like after Carnival, so after Mardi Gras. Our summer break is in January and February, and then the school year generally starts like end of February.
Oh, that's different. That's cool.
Yeah.
Is it hard learning a new language, and do you like the English language?
Did you guys hear the question?
No, can you?
Is it hard learning a new language, and do you like learning the English language?
Like, it's good for us to learn new languages for our future. If we want to go out Brazil, like United States, do you know? And it's pretty nice. I like to learn English.
It's very important because the English the universal language. Yes. So for jobs and it's very important.
Would you guys
Yeah, one
learn
thing-
any other languages?
Would you learn other languages?
I wanna learn Italian.
Or Spain.
Yes, have classes.
Do you want to explain why? Like, what's the value of Italian in this region?
I would do because my stepdad family came from Italy, and I promised him that after I have learned English, I would start learning Italian with him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and because I want to visit Italian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Spanish, you said?
Yes, but a little.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
I would like to speak Russian because I like the way they speak. I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Renaya, one thing that has been really like different for me is that the families here really want their kids to learn English. Like almost universally, people really value it because it opens up a lot of doors, not just for travel, but also for job opportunities. And in almost any field, English is a really useful skill. I think that's true of Spanish as well, especially in the United States. But I didn't always see quite as much buy-in into the importance of Spanish as I see here. People are really invested and they pay money to take English classes because it's really important.
Do you have any advice for someone who wants to travel to a new country or like learn a different language in a new country?
Is this for me? I think we can all answer this, right? I think the biggest thing is like don't be afraid to make mistakes when you speak. Because when I learned Spanish, I was a teenager and I was a perfectionist, and I was really afraid to speak because I didn't want to mess up the grammar. And so I was very silent for a really long time with my Spanish. And with Portuguese, I was an adult and I decided I was going to do it differently. And I just was like, okay, I'm here and I only have a little bit of time here and I'm going to take advantage of it. And I'm going to make all the mistakes and I'm going to practice all the Portuguese. And it really was a lot more fun. And I feel like I made more friends because I was more vulnerable and I was more willing to talk to people. And so I think focus on communication and not so much on being flawless. I think that's really important. And also recognize that people are listening to you to understand you. They're not listening to you to criticize you or to hear your accent. Sometimes people like your accent, but it's in a positive way. And people are listening to you not to look for your errors. They're listening to you to understand you. So if you make a mistake, it's okay. If people don't understand you, they'll ask you follow-up questions. It's completely fine. Take a deep breath because it's all fine. What do you guys want to say about advice for people who would like to travel and learn languages?
I improve my English like listening to music and watching series or movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Okay. What about you, Renaya? What advice do you have for people who are learning languages?
For me, what was like the best for me with learning Spanish, I listened to a lot, like she said, a lot of the music, watch shows and stuff like that. And I tried to find like a friend who also was like fluent in that language and asked them to like speak to me in that language so my communication skills would become better and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a really unique opportunity that you have because you're studying Spanish and we have so much Spanish at our school. I think it's a little bit harder for you guys to find like an English speaking buddy, but with the internet, anything is possible.
Yep. Well, Ms. Tekolste and students, we thank y'all so much for coming to us this afternoon. Shortridge misses you greatly, and we are so glad you are doing so well in Brazil. Thank you for taking time during your class to come back and speak with us. And Blue Devils, thank you for tuning in this week for World Changing 101. See you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, Shortridge.